Well, hello again. So today's lesson is going to be all about eyebrows. Oh, by the way, I'm sporting my little baby girl sweatshirt today. She's on my knee today, so Effie will be joining our little class today. She's going to give everybody a little wave, aren't you, Effie? And anyone who wants a little cuddle, there you go, little free cuddle for you. She's going to be sat on my knee, so I'm sorry if she keeps peeping up, but she loves all this prettiness. We'll call it, let's go and play pretty, and she sits on my knee all the time. So today we're going to be talking about eyebrows. Now, anybody who knows me in a professional sense will know that I'm kind of obsessed with eyebrows, and this is something which I started off doing a long time ago. All of my life I have really been into hair and makeup from about 13, 14, where I went to college and I did hairdressing and beauty as well. Now, back in the day, we were all obsessed with having thin eyebrows, you know, like the Pamela Anderson ones. I may even let you have access to one of my pictures, which shows me not so long ago with thin eyebrows as well. So we're all sporting them. And over the years, what's happened is we've all either overplucked them, or age gets to us and we tend to lose a lot of hair with our brows, or we've basically just not had a lot of eyebrows. So permanent makeup has actually become more and more popular over the years. I've been doing it for quite a while now, and I do both methods. I don't just do microblading, I do every other technique. So it's not kind of a case of one size fits all. Now, eyebrows can actually change your... It's unbelievable, those ladies who have found that by giving themselves a slightly thicker brow can actually be a lot less aging than somebody with a thin eyebrow. So I'm going to show you today a few little rules and a few little hints and tips when you're doing your own eyebrows. What I would say to my own clients who come regularly to have their brows done by me, please, I am the brow police, I am watching you, and I will know and I'll get to know. I have sources. Please don't overpluck them brows. Don't go below a line, and I will show you a little bit later on a little few hints and tips on what to do when we're going to be tweezing our brows at home during this period of time. Okay, so because my brows are tattooed on, it's going to be really difficult for me to show you on myself on how to do a brow. So I've got another idea. So I'm going to pop out, we're going to do a little flit, and we're going to go somewhere, and I'm going to show you with a slightly little different way. Okay? See you in a minute. I've just run into the salon, but don't worry because it's based at my home in a separate building. So I'm still isolating, don't worry. It's very cold in here and I really do miss it. I miss being here, so just a little thingy just to see where I am here. It's very, very strange being very quiet without you all in here. Anyway, enough of that. So, eyebrows. I've had a little idea, rather than show you how to do like hair strokes and just a few little techniques on your brows, I'm going to actually show you on one of my practice mats, which I use for permanent makeup sometimes. I thought it would be a little bit of a better idea because then I can direct you exactly how to draw hair strokes, what direction you need to be following your own hair. You need to be starting to look at your hair and which direction it grows, just to give you a little bit of a better blend and a better finish when you're doing your own brows at home. Okay, does that sound good? Yeah? Okay. Right, so I'm just going to start off at the front of your brow. So imagine this here is your eyebrow, and this front bit here is what we call the bulb. So if you have your eye here, let's just say your eye's here, I'm going to show you on myself just some little proportions, what you need to remember as well, so you'll know whether your eye's too close to your brow, whether your brow is a little bit big for your face and things like that. So I'll go through that on myself, I'll demonstrate on myself. So purely for the hair strokes, first of all, I want you to have a look at your own hair in the mirror on your brow and just see which direction your hair is actually growing in. Now, most people's grow slightly upwards here, so you'll get something like this kind of look going on, and you've probably got a little bit what maybe curves a little bit rounder. So when you're penciling in your brows, if you have gaps in your brows, so I'll draw some hair in here as if this is maybe your hair. Okay, now hair tends to generally flow a little bit more like this, And then usually when we get to here, the hair will start to grow down at an angle like this. Can everybody see that? So on average, you tend to find that sometimes if you've got gaps in your brows, you might find it's more along this line here, what we call the base line here. So if you're penciling in, what I would suggest you do, can you see how I'm just flicking my pencil? I'm not doing this and filling in, because that doesn't really give a very nice look on your brows. It'll give you quite a harsh look unless you're into that type of look. But this really gentle hair stroke look, you see how I'm just like literally flicking my pencil into little strokes, and you would follow your own hair the same direction it grows with the pencil, and just build up and build up and build up, and that will give you a really nice natural brow finish. So an easy way to do this is, you'll find it will look better if your hair stroke's going down like this, if it grows like this way. Don't then do this with your pencil, because all you'll get there is a bit of a muddy mess and really harsh along here. If there's anywhere where you're going to do it a little bit stronger, it's going to be along this line here at the base of your brow. So if you want to accentuate your brow a little bit more, you would draw more of a line here. And then you can always soften it up and blend it outwards. So can you see there? Just little tiny flicks through your brow, following your own direction of your hair, will give you a really nice finish on gappy eyebrows. Okay. Now I'm just going to show you some pointers here if you haven't got an eyebrow. So if you don't have a brow at the minute, or your brows are very, very thin, and you need to know, have a little look of naturally where your brow you feel would naturally be. And what I want you to do is just consider a few points. So this point here is what we call the bulb. Now the bulb should actually go from the corner of your eye upwards. So if you measure where the corner of your eye is and going upwards, this is where your brow should start at the front. This point here is what we call the highest point. So if you have a look on there, this is what we call the highest point. This is what we call the tail, and the tail is the end point. So generally, a rule of thumb with eyebrows is from the bulb to the arch, the highest point of the arch here is usually 2/3 of your brow. And the end bit, yeah, you've guessed it, this is a maths class as well, is 1/3 of your brow. So from your arch to your tail should be in proportion, on average, 1/3 of your brow. From the arch to the bulb, which is the front, should be 2/3. Everybody all right with that? Right, now I'm going to show you on myself. I'll show you a little thing how this actually comes into play on real life people. So today I'm going to give you another little task as well. I went to a mindfulness class not so long ago at the Secret Warehouse, this fantastic place in Liverpool, and it's really all about positivity. And one of the things what we were given were some task cards to do. So every day you have to choose 2 of the tasks to do. So what we're going to do is today I'm going to choose some cards. Well, actually I'm going to get my son here, Jordan, to choose 2 cards out the pack, and out of these 2 cards you have to do these tasks. It's all to test you a little bit out of your comfort zone and get you to do something what you maybe wouldn't normally do, and it's just all about this positive attitude and awareness. So let's just have a little look and we'll see which cards Jordan's going to choose. Okay, so here are the cards, and my lovely assistant here, who has pink gloves on, digging the gloves, is going to choose 2 cards for you. There's one. These are at random. Right, if you just turn them over for me, Jordan. So the first card says, put your phone away for half an hour. Can you do that? And the second card says, do not watch TV for a whole day. Okay, so these cards are quite funny given the circumstances. However, let's try this. So let's try not to watch TV for a full day while we're in isolation. Let's do other things instead. You can do some of my tutorials. And the other one, I'm going to try this one. Might be difficult, but let's all put our phones away for half an hour. Obviously after you've listened to this. Okay, so there's your 2 tasks for today to push you out your comfort zone a little bit. And if you like this, we can do some more on our next tutorial. So we've talked about hair strokes, and now I'm going to show you almost in real life how this looks on a face. So with measurements, when we were talking about the base of the bulb, we were talking about here, on your brow here. So this should always be in line with the inner corner of your eye. And if you go straight up, and then obviously the same on each side. So if you're measuring your brows and you're ever wondering whether they're symmetrical or not, this is a really good thing to do. So just a little tip for you, if you want to, put a little marker in, almost like straight up. When you're using a pencil, these products here are amazing. I'm really lucky enough to have these in the salon, and this is the new Eyebrow Queen range. And this has a double-ended brush on one side, if you can see this, and a really great fine nibbed pencil on the other side. This comes in various shades, and these are just amazing, as well as the packaging. It just looks gorgeous. So when you're working upwards like this, okay, I'm going to put into practice. Imagine if you drew a line from the bottom of your brow to this high point here. This is the angle, what we're looking to take. So I'm going to take it from a high point under the arch here to the front of what we call the bulb. Now this is the area here which I was saying about should be 2/3 of the way across. So if you look where your brow has its highest point, which on mine is here, that should be 2/3 of the way there. And then if you look on here, that is 1/3. Now this area here, from the arch to what we call the tail, a good way of measuring that yourself to make sure it's right is if you put like a line from the edge of your nose to the end of your eye and then upwards, that should be a guide as to where the tail should finish. It shouldn't really finish any lower than that. If you've got what we call on the tail, if it is down here, the likelihood is that your brow is going to look, well, it's going to make your eye look really droopy. And this is when you get almost like a hooded eye look, because what we need to do with eyebrows is lift your eye, and that is what is going to open up your eye and create a really lovely, youthful kind of feel to the brow as well. Okay, so just to recap, if we're doing brows and we're penciling in, just very light strokes across here, downwards if your hair goes down here, which most people's do, but again, have a look like I said earlier, and then we're finishing off there. Okay, so again, when you're looking at this space here, the end here should not be any lower than this here. So if you drew a line straight across from the bottom of your brow, straight across there, this end bit should not be any lower than this front point here. And that's such a really important thing to remember, because like I said just now, that is what's going to make your eye look a little bit droopy, and we don't really want that, do we? No, 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 definitely not. So just another little tip for you as well. Just to highlight your brow, if ever you need a little bit of guidance in just where to kind of go. Now I'm just using a NARS concealer here. You can use something like a highlighter pencil, something like this. This is the Benefit one, and that has like a highlighter, like, almost like a cream. Don't use a white here because it can look a bit too much. But what we're aiming for is just to draw along here and create almost like a little line. So this is just a little tip if you're not used to using your brows, and that will act as a little bit of a safety guard for you. The other good thing as well about this line is for all my clients who I do the brows now for, I actually want you to do this when you're going to be plucking your own brows at home in between. And the reason I'm saying this is I don't want you to actually go above that line what we create. So this area here is a yes, you're allowed to pluck there, and I'll know on your next appointment if you haven't. Remember, I have my sources, I know when you've plucked. So don't over pluck, draw this line in, and anything below you will be able to see where to pluck from. The good thing about using something like a concealer as well is you'll be able to see where the hair is a little bit better as well. So if you have fine hairs or fair hair, you'll be able to, it'll just pick out where the hair is, that there is actually hair there, so you'll see it a little bit more. So the other thing when we're plucking as well, what we don't want to do is, like we obviously said, we don't want to over pluck. Now what you have to remember is it's not where the hair is actually going, where it's coming from, it's where it's covering. So if you take a hair out, say for example here, and it would cover this area, what you're doing is you're taking this out and you're probably going to leave a gap there as well. And this is what happens when we start to over pluck our brows as well. So again, just to finish off with the brow, this is a really great product which I've discovered as well, and this again is by Eyebrow Queen. I love their products. It's a really great range and so beautifully done. So this is actually has a little pipette here, and it's in little drops. Now you can actually put it on the back of your hand, or you can actually put it onto a little palette. What I tend to do with this is I use the end of my brush. You can also get these lovely little brushes, which is an angle brush on one side, which you can actually use for eyeliner and things as well, and the brush. So if you literally just dip the brush in the product, not too much because it is liquidy and you really don't need a lot so it lasts such a long time, and then literally brush through your brows. Now I'm not really into this laminated brow look personally. Nothing against anybody who is. It's just not for me. I do believe it's a bit of a fad, and you do need hair. Obviously, when you're doing this process anyway, or for a brow lamination, so you do need hair in the first place. If not, it won't actually last. Now, what I like to do here is just brush up here. This is just personal to me because I've got really awkward hairs. My hair grows really curly here, so this is a great product just to flatten down if you've got unruly brows. This is really good for as well. So I don't mind it brushed up a little bit at the front and here, but I just love that look where it looks a little bit neater and tidier towards the ends. So that will actually set, and it literally lasts you all day. Your brows won't move from there. So this is why I'm saying earlier, to me, I just believe that this is as good as any brow lamination product, to be honest. And that is it. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching the tutorial today. I'm really grateful that you're enjoying these, and hopefully I'll see you soon for the next one. And thank you so much for all the great comments, and it's really been great teaching you. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.